Um, oh, it's recording now. So yeah, I'm excited for the fall semester because it'll be my first fall here.
All right. And then last but not least, our new SJ Director of Student Organizations.
Hi everyone, my name is Amarachi Maduba. I'm the SHA Director of Student Orgs. I'm a senior. My major is geology, and I'm very excited for this position and being like a liaison between like students and like the staff for any needs that you have when it comes to student organizations. Yeah. Chris, you're on mute.
Thank you. Working with Zoom here. So especially if you're the primary contact for your student organization uninvolved at TU, you can expect to get a lot of emails and updates from the three of us. So when you see our names, you now have seen our faces. So, definitely say hi if you pass us and see us on campus. All right, before we jump into our featured speakers, which we're extremely excited about, I want to give you just a little bit of information about today's training. First off, do me a favor. If this is your first Student Group Leadership Summit that you've ever attended, can you please put a number 1 in the chat for us? We have a lot of new people. So welcome to your first summit. We're really excited about today's training. This will be a very new and different experience because you're going to get to pick a lot of the learning that you get as a student organization leader that is specific to you. So that's awesome. Who here's been a returner for a student organization leadership summit? Can you put a 2 in the chat if you are a returner? And we do love our returners. Oh man, we have so many of you as well. Okay, it looks like a good mix for this year. All right, so we have a lot of people here, some newcomers, some who have done this a number of times. This training really today is all about you and setting you up for success. Couple things you need to know about today's training. It will take place in multiple Zoom rooms. The room we are in right now, we call this the main session. So you will begin today with us, and we will end the day in the main session at the end. All of the session links are available on Involved It to You. We will share a link to that in case you should have received it from me via email prior to this, but we will be sharing it throughout the day to help you navigate to the other sessions. If you're having trouble getting somewhere, I'm going to ask Kelly and Abby to please raise their hands slash wave. So they show up. Yes, perfect. Yeah, they're raising their hands, they're waving. If you're having trouble, technical difficulties, a sign-in sheet's not working, you name it, please PM one of them so that they can like assist you. While I'm presenting and we have other people presenting, we might not be able to assist you in the moment, but if you can't get somebody, they're our tech support for today, so they will help you, okay? We're going to ask, and you guys have been doing a great job with this, that you please keep yourself muted unless you're invited to speak to limit the background noise. We have 209 people on this call right now, so we want to make sure everybody can hear the presenters as they're delivering their information. I strongly encourage you to keep your camera on and be engaged throughout the event, especially with our breakout and guest presenters, so they get a chance to see you. So, if you're able to and you're in a place where you're able to like show your face, we love to see you. So if you can, please keep your camera on for today. We will record all sessions. So after today, and this is for your benefit, depending on your note-taking style, if you'd like to take notes, you're welcome to, but we will record all the sessions. In particular, the PowerPoints that I've created have a lot of information on them intentionally. So, if you need more step-by-step instructions later, you will be able to go back and access this information, okay? Lastly, we've said this already, but you guys have been just doing this naturally. Please feel free to be active in the chat. If you have questions, Abby, Kelly, and other members of the student activity staff are monitoring the chat and will respond. As a presenter, they may also respond to your questions directly if they catch it, and in the breakout sessions. So while we ask you keep your voice off while the sessions are being presented, unless you're asked to speak, please do feel free to utilize the chat. And not that I expect this to be any issues with such a great student leader population, but if anybody's being extremely disruptive, Abby's got my go ahead and kick them out. So, but yeah, please, obviously enjoy the experience, but be respectful of everybody else that's involved. All right, and with that, without further ado, I want to introduce our keynote speakers who we're extremely excited to have. We're very fortunate to have both our university president and our senior vice president for student affairs, Dr. Werner Hurt and Dr. Mark Ginsberg. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hurt to first speak, and then we'll get to Dr. Ginsberg after.
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. Well, first of all, welcome. Welcome back to our amazing student leaders. I don't know about you, but I am just excited about going into another fall. It's been great. Pardon me, I'm a little casual today because I'm excited to have a new tiger myself. And so today was move-in day for my daughter, and I've been enjoying the start of a semester in a new way today. But it's great to see just so many of you all. I hope you had great summers that were both productive but also restful. I know that President Ginsberg joins me, and just really excited about seeing you all and being able to interact and engage with you all this year. I am going to just step out of the way because I am really happy that our president is here and able to join and share with you all today. President Mark Ginsberg joined Towson University just about a year ago. Was named a year ago as our president. And I'm telling you, if you've paid attention over this last year, he has been everywhere and has engaged with folks all across campus, all across the state, and literally all across the country, as he has just really leaned into leading this awesome institution. I have been really fortunate to be able to glean from his leadership, and I've just been so impressed by his love for this community, his love for our students, and really his commitment to our students being able to succeed and thrive in all that you do. And so it really is great to have the opportunity to introduce him and welcome him into this space. And I know that he has some great remarks and great insight for you. So do me a favor, help me welcome Towson University's president, Dr. Mark R. Ginsberg.
Thank you, Vernon. Thank you, Dr. Hurt. Good to see so many folks on the Zoom today. And I too want to apologize for being a little bit out of the typical uniform of a university president. But you know, with move-in, it's time to be informal and to just be out on campus. And today's been a day where I've been all over the campus. In fact, Dr. Hurt and I are sitting in the Student Union building. I'm sitting in his conference room in his office right now because we've both been at a lunch working to try to make sure all the plans for fall are in place. And that as about 20,000 students come to campus over the next couple of days, that we are primed and ready to welcome Tigers back to campus and to create an incredible experience for our students this year. I want to thank you for inviting me to join with you today. It's really an important day for you, but really an important day for the university. We're bringing together our student leadership who make this university such a vibrant, energized, inspiring place, and a place that is home to so many. I met this morning with about 170 new transfer students who are coming on campus for the first time. And one of the things I said to them is that Elaine, my wife, and I, when we joined the university last fall, felt very quickly, literally within moments. Certainly we thought it would take a couple of weeks, but literally the moments of stepping foot on this campus, we felt the energy and the passion, and we felt like we'd come home. And so I hope as you've returned to campus today and over the last couple of days and later in the later period of August, that you too have felt like you've come back home to a place that feels like home, back home to a place that inspires you, energizes you, and helps you to grow. Most importantly, though, I want to thank you for your leadership and your service to your fellow students, for your leadership and your service to our great university, because TU is vibrant, and that vibrancy in large part is because of the vibrancy of our student organizations and the opportunity that our 20,000 students have to participate in an incredible array, just a buffet, as I called it this morning with our transfer students. I was in Sweden last week, and I learned a little bit of what a smorgasbord is. Well, a smorgasbord is what we have here, a smorgasbord of activity for our students. Just an endless array of things to try and sample. I told the students this morning, and I think you probably would agree with me, that when you're at a university and you're a student, that's the time to try things that you've never tried before, to lean into and have opportunities that you hadn't dreamt about, to learn new things that you had never heard about, and to have the opportunity to engage with others that you hadn't met before. I really believe that the activities we have on campus for students and the leaders who are leading those activities, you individually and you as a group, help to make that smorgasbord come alive for our community. Because that provides a context. And the context you provide, I'm sure Dr. Hurt will agree with me, is a context for the success of our students, the context for student success. You represent, in my mind, a sort of blanket, if you will. The metaphor is a real one. A blanket keeps one warm, makes one feel cozy and comfortable, makes one feel more intimately connected to their environment. Well, I think you are, in effect, individually, and you are as a group collectively, a little bit like a blanket for our campus. You add warmth, you add comfort, you add ways that help to make and facilitate our students, to feel invited, to feel engaged, to feel like they're welcome and welcoming to join and be part of our community. And our students' organizations and our leaders, that is you, the leadership of our student organizations, are truly, truly critical to helping to support the Tiger experience. You are that blanket. You are the way that our students feel warm and connected. And I'm sure each of you have found that to be the case during your time here at TU. You've gravitated into a leadership position in large part because you've experienced the warmth of the blanket that it creates. And so I ask you and welcome you, invite you, encourage you, support you in continuing to do that for our students this fall. When I look back on my own undergraduate experience, it's actually my involvement. It's the camaraderie that I had with fellow students that stands out the most. It's the relationships and the friendships that I had and made that mattered, that still are deep and dear friends today. But those friends that I had today helped to foster something even more important than the individual friendships that we had. It fostered a sense of community that I experienced as an undergraduate, a sense of community that I'm confident that each of you are experiencing as a student here at Towson. And it's experience that I hope, that experience of community that I hope that you can help so many of our other students, new students who are joining us, continuing students who are returning to Towson this fall, will continue to experience that sense of community, that sense of being part of something bigger than yourself. As a student myself, I joined a number of clubs. I participated in student government, participated in student athletics, different student organizations. I was an RA in the dorms, all of which were so important to me to get that sense of community. But there's another reason that that sense of community is so important, because we know through a variety of research studies that have been done in countless universities across the country, that it's that very essence of community that supports and encourages, facilitates, and allows you to succeed academically as a student. Dr. Hurt, I'm sure, will join me in telling you that community makes a difference. It makes a difference in your experience, and the positivity of that experience makes a real difference in your performance in the classroom and ultimately in your career development. In fact, for me, that sense of community was a fabulous prelude to my own preparation for my own career. So you're not only making the university a better place for all, you're setting up yourself and your fellow students for a lifetime of success. And that's a big deal. That's really a big deal. So I want you to know that our university's leadership, myself and Dr. Hurt and other members of our leadership team, are here to support you. We're here to support your organization. We're here to be with you every step along the way, and to be sure that as you engage in your organizations, as you lead the student organizations on campus, that we're here to be sure that you have all the things you need, the resources, the encouragement, the support, to be sure that you're going to succeed. Dr. Hurt leads the Division of Student Affairs and University Life on our campus, and that's the place that probably more than any other place on campus, you'll find the support that you need to make your organization successful. Certainly what happens in the classroom is important, but what happens outside of the classroom, I believe, is equally important to the experience of being a student at a university, and it's equally important to being a successful student at Towson University. So our student affairs and university life teams are a tremendous resource, and they're here to support you. And also, I'm here to support you in any way that I can. You know, in many ways, it's never been harder to be a college student. We've all been challenged by the pandemic and its effect on education. We're all challenged by fiscal uncertainty and the need for more financial aid. We're all being challenged by the devastating effect of global events taking place in many parts of the world. And now we're all being challenged by the burden of a political divide that we're seeing in our country. And I know last year was a tough year for many of our students. And I know that this year will almost certainly pose its own set of challenges. But with each of you in a position of leadership, each of you in a position of leadership to support our entire university community, students, but also our faculty and staff, I'm confident we're in great hands. Working together, you as student leaders, us as the senior leadership of the university, our faculty and staff who are leading elements of the university every day, I know and I'm confident, I'm convinced, in fact, that we will continue to make Towson University a great place for everyone who calls our university home. So if there are things that I can do or that members of our administration can do to make our university a better place through your efforts, please don't hesitate to ask. We want to know and we want to be there to support and help. And I also have an online feedback form that you can express your feedback about various things, or just email me. And I do office hours every week where students are able to come in and just share their experience and talk and engage with me about whatever it is that you'd like to discuss. So I welcome you to sign up for those as well. And please know I'm also very happy, delighted and thrilled, in fact, to attend your own events. Just reach out and invite me, and I'm happy, schedule permitting, to come to anything it is that you may be doing that you think that I could add value to by my presence. So let me close by saying how appreciative I am, how pleased I am for the work that you do, and how confident I am that the work that you do will continue to make a difference every day in the life of our university, for the experience of our students, for the success, not just of our students, but for the entire university, because the success of each person multiplies so that it becomes the success of the whole, the success of the university. So I hope that you have a great academic year. I'm confident together we all will have a great academic year. Reach out, have a great experience, do everything you can to be sure that those you work with have a great experience. Because let me close by saying, I know that leadership matters. And I know from experience that leadership is not easy. It's hard. It's real hard. But it's the hardness of leadership that helps to harden us as we prepare for career and prepare for our life. Have a great time being a leader. Take the experience and use it. Lean into the unknown. Help us all to be better and help this university to provide the best possible experience for yourself and your fellow students. Let's have a great academic year. Go Tigers. Thanks very much. Good to see you all today.
Can we please get some thank yous in the chat / reactions, thumbs up. We really appreciate both Dr. Hurt and Dr. Ginsberg being a part of this day.
Great to be with you.
Guys know this is very.
Take care. Be in touch.
Yes, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
You bet.
Look at all the reactions coming in. All right. I wanted to say, I think it does go to show how much the university really values the work that you all do as student leaders, that you have both many of the senior leadership of the university here literally supporting you. That's not specifically common. I was a student leader at 2 different universities. I did not get my university president coming to our trainings. So thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Also, one fun fact, I didn't share about one of the things I did over the summer, but talking about community and the things you do as a student leader, one of my favorite highlights from the summer was I went to the beach I was the president of a student organization with my vice president and his kids. And I said, I've been here for 15 years. So the relationships and things that you are making right now in your organizations and the communities you're building for your members those are people that they're going to carry with them for the rest of their lives. So your work really matters, and we really appreciate you being here. Dr. Hurt, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming election.
Yep. So
right.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah,
first, just I want to echo everything President Ginsburg shared. We share in common having, been student leaders as undergrads, and how those experiences really impacted our own career decisions and the work that we do day in and day out. And so your leadership does matter. The positive impact that you have on this campus and helping your fellow students feel a sense of community is real. But one of the things I really love about this community is the level of engagement, both on campus and off campus. And as the president mentioned, this is going to be a really engaged semester, particularly around the election. And so many of your peers have been engaged with our civic engagement and social responsibility office this summer, and have really encouraged to make sure that we've got information out there about how students can be engaged and how they can register to vote and all that important work. And so I didn't want to miss this opportunity with so many of our student leaders to make sure that we share these resources with you. I know Chris and the team will ensure that you all have this slide to be able to share with your organizations, but part of the DNA of TU is civic and community engagement. And so we want to make sure that we are supporting you all as you are engaged in the ways that make a difference for you. And so don't hesitate if you have any questions, but definitely utilize these QR codes for more information and share those amongst your membership. And the last thing I wanted to do is just offer a thank you to the entire team from student activities, student affairs, our partners across campus who might be on. Just thank you for taking the time to continue to day in and day out support our student leaders, our student organizations. I don't take it for granted the time and the energy and the expertise that you invest in helping our student leaders grow and helping their organizations thrive. And so thank you for all that you do to support them. And again, thank you to all of our student leaders for the ways that you make a positive impact on our campus. And so look forward to seeing all of you as much as possible this year. So have a great continued training today.
Thank you all so much. All right. I want to take a moment now to talk a little about the agenda for the remainder of the day. So we just closed with our keynote speakers, and we're going to move into the Student Org Top 10, where we'll talk a little about the key things you need to know as student leaders here on this campus. After that part ends by 1:55-ish, that is when we are going to move into breakout sessions, and you will be able to pick your own learning journey. So Abby is going to put the link in the chat that is shown on the screen here. You should have received this via email, and hopefully if you had time prior to today, you've had a chance to look through and kind of select which sessions you're interested in. But in case you haven't, we're going to go over them briefly. But talking about the agenda, after we're done this main session piece at 1:55, you will go to your first breakout session 1. You do not need to come back to the main session after breakout session 1. After breakout session 1, you can then join whichever Zoom link you would like for the second set of breakout sessions. But after the second set of breakout session ends, it's very important that you come back here at 3:45 so that we can do the closing and assessment. That will also count as the sign out for the day so we ensure you receive credit. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the breakout session options you will have. During the first section here from 2 to 2:50, there's 5 different sessions in each block. I will be doing Tiger Stripes if you're interested in learning about student group incentives that you can receive as a student organization, or if you're a brand new student organization leader, I'd strongly encourage you to consider this as one of the options. We'll talk about the things that you can earn as benefits as a student club. At the same time, we'll have Event Planning 101, which is going to be led by Miss Boyd, who works in student activities. This session, if your organization is doing events and you want to be stronger in how to plan successful events, this would be a great session to consider. At the same time, we'll have 2 of our campus partners, Dr. Chris Trong and Stephen Willems, who are going to be doing a session on fostering self-care and community care, how to make your organization more accessible, and thinking about mental health as it relates to people wanting to be involved in your student organization. And then we have OIIE, who's here. We'll have two individuals, campus partners, Brian Hara and Adrian, who are going to be talking about managing frank discussions in your organization. This session is especially very relevant with the current political year that we have. You know, how do you manage conversations that may be around difficult topics and make sure people feel included? And then lastly, we'll have the treasurer's workshop, and this session will be led by the SJ treasurer and then two different staff members in student activities, Susan Ruppel and Carolyn Harris. This session, if your group is interested in receiving a budget for spring 2025, you have to have a member attend one of the treasurer workshop sessions. So you're going to see in a second when I click the slide here, the treasurer's workshop is actually in both time blocks. You should not go to both. It is the same presentation. But if you're thinking about getting a budget for next semester, you need to have somebody from your organization go there and sign in so that you get credit for attending, okay? So Treasurer's Workshop, they'll teach you everything about how to manage your student organization finances, your bank accounts, spend money, all that will be done in the Treasurer's Workshop. I know that a number of you, because you've emailed me in advance, have multiple officers or members of your group that are here today with you. That is awesome. My strong recommendation is, as you're planning where to go, you don't all attend the same session. So dividing up who's going to which sessions so you can bring back the maximum amount of learning. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will be recording these breakout sessions. So, you know, if you couldn't get to all the ones, let's say you're the only member of your group that's here today, you know, pick the ones that make the most sense for you, but you will be able to go back and access the other sessions after today, okay? After the first set of breakout sessions, we're going to move into breakout sessions 2. In this space, in the main session, Shamaya Dickens who's in student activities, will be doing a leadership building session for you. So if you're interested, called Replay, Building Your Leadership Playlist for Fall 2024, like what things do you need to make sure you're doing as a leader to be successful? We'll also have, we're very excited about this. The Health Center is coming in to do our health promotions, to do a session on how to invest in your well-being. Being a student leader can be stressful, can be overwhelming. What strategies and systems can you set up for yourself to take care of yourself? Then we'll have reservations and event planning on campus, led by ECS reservations and event managers. So if you're new to doing reservations or like events, this session could be really helpful because ECS is the department who manages all activities for student organizations. So they'll go over like how to put in reservations / you know, how to work with your event manager. And in particular, they're going to talk about some of the event policies. So if your group does a lot of big or outdoor large scale events, this could be a good session to attend to learn more from them. And then we have, returning from last summit, which was very positively received, a building community within your organization led by Michelle from SARP. So this session will really focus on how do you make your members feel closer. Both Dr. Ginsburg and Dr. Hurt talked a lot about the importance of building community. This workshop can give you some strategies of how do you make your environment for your organization one that people want to be a part of, especially if you're thinking about member retention and how do you keep people engaged with your organization for the long term. This is a great session to consider. And then lastly, we'll wrap up with the Treasurer's Workshop after that. And as a reminder, after this breakout sessions 2, you'll return back to this main session where we'll close out the day, okay? Tamsir is asking a question about if the Treasurer's Workshops are the only ones that allow for spring break. Yes, you need to attend one of the Treasurer Workshops to be classified for a budget. There will be not alternative Treasurer's Workshops. There'll be other opportunities to get financial guidance, but these are the primary workshops that happen at the beginning of the semester. Okay. I want to just give one also shout out. If you actually looked at the list I gave here, if you looked at how many different departments are involved, from student activities, ECS, SARP, health promotions, counseling center, ADS, OIIE, there are so many people that are involved in making today happen to support you all. And I want to say that these people are not accidents that got invited to be a part of today. One, we're very thankful for them, but all of the sessions that we planned for today came as a direct feedback from the student leaders last spring. So what I'm going to say is, as you're going through today, at the end of the day, you will have a chance to give us your feedback. I promise you we read those things, and we will make adjustments and plan our next summit and other trainings based on your feedback. So, you know, if there's things that are helpful to you, make sure you make a note of it for yourself so that you can tell us. There's things that could be done better. We also want to hear that as well, okay? But I do want to make sure you realize that today is really about your feedback making a big difference of how our student organizations are trained for the future. And with that, I'm going to jump into the student organization top 10. So honestly, there is so many things that are beneficial for you to know as a student leader. We tried to truncate this list down to 10 things that really every student organization leader should know. So these are policies, procedures, and other things that we consider to be the most valuable for you as a student leader to be successful. There's always going to be more information that will be helpful, and that's why we have lots of breakout sessions that dive deeper into specific topics. But these things, if you've been here before, these should sound familiar because they are familiar. But if you haven't been to a summit before, if you were one of the people that put a 1 up here, this is the session you should pay very close attention to because we're going to go over key things that will hopefully help you be successful. All right. First thing, and probably the biggest thing that all student organizations, or I'd say vast majority, utilize regularly is room reservations. So as a student club, you are eligible to reserve space in most places on campus for free. That is one of the biggest benefits of being a student organization on Towson's campus. You can notice there's a whole bunch of words on the slide. I'm not going through everything. These are step-by-step instructions that you will receive when we send out the PowerPoints, okay? However, a couple things that you do really need to know is that every July 1st, the individuals who can reserve space for your club reset. So even if you were able to reserve space in the past, or if you've never reserved space before, there's a process you have to follow. And it all begins with doing the Blackboard training. And the steps are on the right-hand side. We're not going to talk about that. But if you haven't done the training and you want to reserve space for weekly meetings, or you want to reserve space for upcoming events, you need to do this training first. So if you haven't done the training through the emails I sent out over the summer, I'd encourage you to do this soon. Every group can have up to 2 people, so only 2 individuals from your club can reserve space. It can be the president and the secretary, the president and the vice president, an events coordinator and the secretary. It's up to you, but you get 2 representatives. Those are the people that should do the training. So whoever you want to put in your reservations, make sure that they've done the training. Before any reservation in place, that training has to be done, okay? If you have a lot of questions about the reservation process, or like, you know, you've never done it before, I strongly encourage you to consider attending the reservation and planning events section that ECS is leading in breakout sessions too. They will answer, you know, detailed questions there. So if you're brand new to this and you feel like you're going to have questions about what types of things you can do, that would be a great session to consider. ECS also wanted me to share a couple updates with you. On the left-hand side, a couple of building updates. If you see these hours for the Union and West Village Commons have, I guess, I don't know what they specifically were before, but they're saying they've changed slightly. So these are the times where events can be booked from Monday to Thursday, 10 to 7:30 a.m. till 10 p.m. And Fridays and Saturdays, it's open till 11. Sunday has a little bit different hours. Linthicum this semester, / I think it's this year, is closed, so you won't be able to reserve space there. And while Health Professions is coming online, they're not currently allowing groups to reserve space for events in there yet. I don't know if it will or will not. I'm just letting you know the ECS is saying right now groups cannot reserve events in Health Professions. All the other spaces that you typically reserve on campus, outdoor spaces and whatnot, those are all still available to you, okay? On the right-hand side, ECS wanted to let you know a couple of different policies / guidelines that have been updated. The biggest one is a new set of guidelines called the Indoor Event Guidelines. They're going to go over this in detail in their session. So if your organization is one that does very large-scale indoor events, I'm going to strongly encourage you again to consider their session. The Guide to Planning Student Events, that is the general, like, here's the things you need to know or consider when planning events. That has been updated. That is on their website and also on Involved It to You directly linked. So if you're, you know, I would say definitely check that out, especially if you're new to planning events. And then the Blackboard training, I emailed this out over the summer. That changed over on July 1st, but that has been completely revamped. So it is a different training than what's been done in the past. Okay. Second thing, contracts. So anytime that you're bringing somebody for outside guest to campus to perform a service for your student organization, it could be a DJ, a speaker, a juggler, a magician, you name it. If you're bringing somebody to campus, you need to have a contract for that individual. There's a lot of reasons for this, but the biggest ones relate to liability. The second other big reason is because we need a contract if that individual wants to be paid. So if you're hiring a DJ to come and perform for you, they would need to complete a contract so that we can actually process that contract for payment. That's a little bit more complicated. It's things that run through the state or whatnot, but the short version of it is you need to have a contract for that individual. There's a template and a whole guide for how to do this. If you are an organization that brings in a lot of guest entertainment, or are thinking that, oh yeah, we bring people very often to campus and we typically need to do contracts, or you're not sure if that's something you're going to be thinking about doing this year, I strongly encourage you to attend the Event 101 planning session during breakout sessions 1, because Ms. Boyd's going to go over that in detail. So, if this is something that's specifically that your group does a lot of, consider that. I want to highlight the things I've labeled in yellow here. So first off, never sign a contract yourself. You shouldn't be putting yourself in liability for anything that you're signing. The university will sign it. We have the authority / all the protections of the state to back up your contracts, so you shouldn't have to do that. Our university, we have a standard contract that vendors have to agree to. So if they want to come to campus, they have to sign our contract. If they will not sign our contract, then you're going to have to choose a different vendor. So if your DJ says like, I refuse to sign this contract for whatever reason, they are not able to come. Okay. So it's very important that you realize you talk about them in advance. Biggest thing. So to make sure that you don't get yourselves into trouble in terms of timeline, sign contracts. That means you get everything completed from the artist and figure everything out minimum 7 days in advance before your event. That gives us time to make sure if there's any documents that are missing, I-9s, etc., certain things that you would need for them to submit, we can sort them out prior to your event. If you submit it after that point, you're going to set yourselves up to potentially get where you will lose your ability to contract vendors in the future. We don't want to have to do that, but there's very strong legal reasons why contracts have to be submitted on time. So minimum 7 days in advance, please make sure your contracts are in. If you need help with this, our office, specifically Miss Boyd, can help you with filling out contracts. So if you're not sure, you need help doing your first one, you can reach out to me and I can get you in contact. We can definitely help you though. So don't feel like we're going to put you out there on your own. Okay. All right, posting flyers on campus. So I know a lot of student groups, you guys want to help promote yourselves, advertise recruitment, your upcoming events. That's awesome. The biggest thing you need to know is that the current spaces we have available for physical flyers, so actual like paper 8.5 by 11 flyers that you can post, are in academic buildings and residence halls. Regardless of which space you're trying to post your flyers, you need to get them stamped in the SGA office as the first step, and that is in 263 in the Union. So you'll bring your flyers and we will stamp them. What that stamp's really saying is, yes, this is a real student organization, you're a registered group, and you're authorized to post. For the academic buildings, the biggest thing is that each academic building has their own rules for how you can go about navigating posting in their building. What I strongly encourage, so you don't get yourselves on the wrong side of their trouble, is to make sure that you ask permission of the dean's office of where you can place them. This is not convenient. I actually have some hopes that by the end of this semester, we'll have a resource for you in this area. But for right now, the best thing you can do before you have your members just go up and start posting things, I would say willy-nilly, you actually check in with the dean's office about where they can post things so that we're making sure that we're following the rules. There's also a very strong interest for our office student activities. Like if your group isn't following those processes, you will get called in to have a meeting with me about it, because we have to protect every student organization's right to post in these spaces. It has been threatened in the past where certain buildings are like, well, we're just going to not let groups post in our buildings anymore if they're not following the processes. And we want to make sure that all student organizations have the ability to get their flyers up. Residence halls is super easy. So for residence halls, after you get your flyer stamped, you would just take your copies to the HRL main office, which is in Marshall Hall. It's on the first floor. They'll actually put one up in every single residence hall for you. So you can just drop a stack off, and then that's that. All right, the union. There is no current places and no planned places for physical flyers to be posted in the union. That being said, we have digital screens all throughout the union that you can advertise on. I have a guest speaker coming at the closing of this summit where you'll actually hear from Art Services, who will talk about how you can, for free, get your advertisements up on those digital screens. So different than posting, but just know that there is some availability for you all to promote in the union, just not through physical flyers. Here are some examples of postings. I've put these in here just showing that, you know, certain buildings have very specific things. This will be available to you in the PowerPoint. I'm not gonna go over it right now. All right, food waivers. So this is important to know that Tiger Hospitality Catering, they have an exclusive contract with the university, and they have what is known as first right of refusal for anybody that wants to cater or provide food on campus. Not just student organizations, all campus departments, anybody, this applies to anybody on campus that's doing food services has to follow this food waiver process if you're not going through Tiger Hospitality Catering for your food orders. So essentially what it means is if you're trying to do food for any events that you have coming up, you have to go through Tiger Hospitality Catering to do it, unless you request a food waiver. Okay, so when do you need a food waiver? If it's under $100, which means, like, you know, if you're getting, you know, maybe a couple of pizzas or some chips or something for a meeting, like you don't need to request a food waiver. If it's under $100, it's they just say it's fine. But anytime that the food is going to cost more than $100, you need to submit a food waiver. This includes donations. So even if let's say Rita's is going to give you, you know, $200 worth of free Rita's, even if it's a free donation, if the value of the food is more than 100, you still need to put in the request for this food waiver. Generally speaking, donations, they are very much more lenient on, but for purchased food, it may or may not be approved. What you need to do, the form is on Involved at TU under campus links. You're going to hear me say that many times throughout the day. This section has where you can get directly to the food waiver, but they need 10 days before the event to have that submitted. So typically they say you'll hear back within 48 business hours, but just because you submit a food waiver doesn't mean it will necessarily get approved. As I mentioned, they have first right of refusal. So if they say they refuse your food waiver, then you would have to purchase through them. I would say, you know, a lot of you have seen events on campus and have worked with Tiger Hospitality, but if you need help with like the food waiver or the ordering process, let us know and we can kind of assist you with that. All right, number 5, off-campus travel. So anytime your organization is traveling as a part of a student organization sponsored activity, you have to have all of your participants complete a travel liability waiver. So if you're going downtown to do a service project, if you're going to a conference, if you're going on a hiking trip, whatever it is, if you're going off campus and it is a student organization sponsored activity, and what I mean by that is if you and a friend choose to go, you know, hiking in the woods, just the two of you, and it's not really part of a club sponsored activity, you don't technically need a waiver. You are allowed to go off campus just as an individual. But if your club is sponsoring the activity, you do need to have a waiver. The waivers are simple forms that help ensure everybody going on the trip understands that there is some risk going off campus. There's risk with everything, but you know, if you're going off campus, there could be a car accident. You could get stung by a bee, and if you're allergic, that could be troublesome for you, et cetera, et cetera. The waivers are available on Involved at TU under campus links. So you can go there to get an access to the waiver. My strong recommendation is that you make 2 copies of the waiver, one that gets turned into us that we keep on record for you. So that is the required part. Like, we need that so that we have it, but you should take a copy of the waiver with you on the trip as well. And I've had this actually come in handy on a past trip where If somebody has a medical emergency, the waivers have access to their medical information, their emergency contact information, so that you can make sure that, you let somebody know if something's happened. You have their information to provide them, especially if they're unresponsive, and you can't get an answer out of them. And also, this is important because it protects you, your organization, and also the university. So, an example of, traveling just, off campus for a hiking trip, like if you get in a car accident and somebody comes back and says like, well, I'm going to sue you because, I got in this car accident and my arm's hurt now, right? It's not foolproof, but it does show that like, hey, like you knew when you got in this car to go off campus that you acknowledge there's a chance that, you could hypothetically be injured, right? So it does offer you a layer of protection. All right. Number 6, the hazing policy. So hazing is defined, I'm going to read you the formal definition first, is defined as any action taken or situation created intentionally, whether on or off campus, inflicted on persons joining a group or members of a group that a reasonable person would consider as having the potential to create mental or physical discomfort, embarrassment, harassment, or ridicule without the individual's consent. So in terms of hazing, I've linked the whole policy here for you if you want to read through the specifics. But a couple things that are very important to know about hazing is if your organization is engaging or in any of these types of practices, it's not just a violation of the university code of conduct, it is illegal in the state of Maryland. And this is one of the most serious offenses that a student organization could violate because we take student organizations' mental and physical safety very, very strongly. Some examples of hazing could include mandatory consumption of food or alcohol, running errands for members, any publicly humiliating stunts. What I'd suggest is, I know that this generally has not been a big issue for our student organization population, but making sure that your environment's a welcoming one for all student organizations to participate in is very important. And we have sessions that are designed later today talking about how you can build community in ways that are not destructive. So say familiarize yourself with the hazing policy, but just know that this is one of the ones that like is a complete deal breaker that we take very seriously. All right, number 7, reporting hate crimes and bias incidents. And I should have guest presenters for this slide. OIE, are you with us?
I am with you.
Of course you are, Patricia. It's so glad to have you. If you want to introduce yourself and your team, feel free.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I am Patricia Bradley. I serve as the Vice President of the Office of Inclusion and Institutional Equity. Wanted to talk to you just a little bit about where you would report any type of hate crime or bias incident that might occur on our campus. I will say that I'm reviewing our annual report for security right now, and I don't want to alarm you because Towson is a relatively safe campus. And while we have had some incidents reported of bias, we have not had, I think maybe in the past 5 years, one incident that was an actual hate crime. And so I want to make sure that you understand the distinction between those. So a hate crime is a criminal act whereby someone has harmed either you personally or destroyed some of your physical property. A hate crime is going to be reported to TU police or to Baltimore County Police, where they will investigate as a criminal act, versus a bias incident, which is reported to our office. So I'm going to make sure that I include in here the link to the hate crimes and our bias policy. So the policy that we refer to is the policy on, if you could go back to the other slide, I don't know if it's on this slide, but it's the policy 06.01.20 is the policy. And on the link that I give you, you'll see all of the policies and everything that pertains to it. But I would say that some of the current trends that exist on our campus right now, as it pertains to bias incidents, we did receive a number of bias incidents last semester as it relates to anti-Semitism and behaviors on campus. But it's not only just anti-Semitism. We also have received other reports that deal with race, that deal with religion, where many people on our campus have been impacted. And that impact has had an effect on our campus, on the community, that we want to make sure that we address across the board so that all of our campus community feels safe. So some of the trends that we see, they really relate to bias incidents where students have reported uncomfortable things being said. And so we want to make sure that we also distinguish that there are certain First Amendment protections, so that some hate speech is actually protected speech. And it may make you feel uncomfortable and you may not like it, but it may not be a violation of our policy or a violation of law. But just because it's not a violation of policy or law doesn't mean that we want to ignore it. We still want to address those incidents as they occur, understand the impact on our victims, and discuss what type of accountability might be in place. So dealing with, working with SARP, with civic engagement, we're talking about restorative practices that we can put into place. We're talking about bringing a more robust dialogue program to our campus to manage some of these difficult conversations. But these are some things too that you as student leaders can discuss within your groups on how to manage some of these difficult conversations within your organizations. And our office is here to provide you support on that. So the next slide just really tells you where to report any incidents that you may be aware of. It is very important that you report them, because if you don't report them, there's no way that we are going to know that it's occurring. And if you know, a lot of people, they post things and incidents that occur on social media, but posting it on social media is not an official report to our office. If we see it, we may try to reach out to people to find out what's going on. A lot of people put more on social media than they do through the official channels. And so we want to make sure that everyone understands that there are official channels that you should report incidents so that we can truly address what's going on our campus and make sure that everyone feels safe. All right.
Thank you so much for coming, Patricia. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me the time.
Yeah. We're going to keep going with our guest presenters, because number 8 is your student org finances. So Carolyn is with us.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Harris. I'm the Director of Student Activities, and I'm also support staff for the SGA Finance team. I do want to introduce our new team members. For our returners, you might know it's been me for the last several months, but excited that we hired 2 new professional staff members to support SGA financial processes. So first, would love to introduce Janiyah Richardson. Janiyah, you want to pop on really quick? Janiyah's our new, there you go. Sorry, Janiyah's our new administrative assistant. There she goes.
Hi, everyone. I'm the new admin for SGA. It's nice to meet everyone. I look forward to working with you all throughout the school year.
Janiyah will be one of the faces that you see if you come visit us in the SGA office on the 2nd floor of the Union, room 263. And then Susan Ruppel is our new coordinator for SGA Finance and Programs. Susan, you want to say hello? Not sure if she's there, but you'll meet Susan if you come to the financial, or I'm sorry, to the treasury.
Gosh, I'm so sorry. I was muted. I thought I was unmuted. I put myself on. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Met some of you already, but I know that there's many, many out there that I haven't met yet. Please stop in and say hi.
Thanks, Susan. And then not here today is our graduate assistant, Habib, who actually is off getting married this week. So we're excited to welcome this SGA finance team. They are the folks who are here to answer questions. The SGA treasurer, Marlon, are you on here?
Yes. So.
Yes. Okay. And our last one rounding out the team is our student representative, Marlon Mauricio, who's the treasurer for SGA this year. You want to say hey, Marlon?
Hello, everyone. I just look forward to working with you.
Awesome. So Marlon will actually be doing the treasurer workshop in just a few. I'm going to highlight a couple things. Chris has already made a few notes that are relevant to the financial matters, things like contracts and some of your travel pieces, but I wanted to quickly explain for any group who is spending money through our campus processes that you submit a purchase request form. So the purchase request form can be found in 2 main spaces, either the SGA website or Involved at TU on the homepage. Submitting a purchase request indicates to the staff in Student Government Association that you would like to make a purchase through the campus, this is the best, or not the best, but the most important step of spending your money on campus so that we can make sure that vendors are being paid appropriately. Something else to note is that for our vendors to be paid, that we need some information from you. So the purchase request process is a little bit flawed because it's a static form. It doesn't always have a place to put a receipt or an invoice. We're trying to update everything now, but if you don't see a place for that, emailing the SGA finance at towson.edu email account with the vendor invoice tells us that we can actually go off and pay the person. What you should communicate to vendors, particularly ones who are using invoices, is that we use a net 30 process. That means within 30 days following your organization's event, they will receive a check from the state of Maryland. So we need the invoice. You should communicate to your vendor that they will be paid within 30 days via check from the state of Maryland. In addition to that, we have options for using petty cash up to $50. So for a group who might need to, purchase a few items that don't cost very much, but don't want to spend that money out of pocket, you can use our petty cash process. On the flip side of that, if you have already spent money and it is less than $50, you can be reimbursed through the petty cash process. Our reimbursement process, which usually comes in the form of a check, generally takes 1 to 2 weeks to process, but if you spend money on behalf of your student organization and you've already submitted a purchase request, we can get you a check reimbursement. That requires that you come into the SGA office with your original receipts. You will turn them in and fill out a pink slip. It's a half sheet of paper with all of the relevant information, and then we'll get a check cut for you within a week or two. In addition to that, if your organization wants to know the status of the financial status of your group's account, you can ask for a trial balance. If you use those words or say you want a report of your group's account, someone in the SGA office will email you the information so you have access to everything. I'm going to drive this point home really, 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 really great. And it's that student orgs are not, so this, I don't know, this is new for folks, but I need to be very clear. Student organizations are not permitted to have off-campus bank accounts. In addition to that, they are not permitted to use third-party financial apps, things like Venmo or Cash App. So when you're doing your fundraising or you're doing bake sales or things on campus, make sure you're using cash for that process and that you're depositing any funds that you have raised to the Auxiliary Services Office in West Village on the 3rd floor, West Village Commons on the 3rd floor. This is really important. We want to be sure that your organization is being safe when it comes to finances, and not utilizing things like Venmo and Cash App will protect your organization and potentially you as an individual student, throughout the academic year. We will be present at the Treasurer Workshop, so if you have additional questions, please make sure to come there, or you can email sgafinance@towson.edu if you have other questions.
It's actually a great segue because we are at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to ask Abby to please place the link in the chat. We're going to stop here. As I mentioned, after the first set of breakouts, you can go straight to breakout sessions 2. Abby, if you want to put the link to the Involved It's You page in. You may now go to your second session. If you stay in this space, you will get to hear from me again. I'm going to talk about the Tiger Stripes program, but we have lots of great presentations are happening at this point, so please go to whichever session you'd like. You can let the presenters know that people are going to be trickling in for a few minutes. If you're staying for my session, I'm going to give a quick 3-minute break. So, if you need to grab a drink of water or use the restroom, go ahead. We're going to start the Tiger Stripes presentation at 2:03. And then, yeah, have a great learning journey if you're not staying with me. Okay, Cheyenne, I see your question. So if you go to the link that Abby posted, this link here, if you go to this link, you will see the time blocks with the different sessions and the links to each space. If you're trying to get to a specific room and you're having trouble, please come back and let Kelly know, and she'll help send you the direct link to the specific session you're trying to get to. Yep, no problem. I'm actually going to try to do something for you while we're waiting. Let's see if it actually works, though. I have no idea. It won't work. Let me try this. Okay, that actually worked. You should be able to click the links I just put. Okay, you. All right. For everybody else that's here, I'm going to go ahead and get started about Tiger Stripes. I will do my best. There are periodic points of this presentation where I will open it for some questions. Depending how many questions, or if the questions are specific to your organization, what I'm going to ask is, hold back any very personal questions till after the summit is over. I will hang out after to answer specific questions, or you can always email me. But this session is really going to focus on the Tiger Stripes program. And if you're attending this session, maybe you've heard of Tiger Stripes before, but we're going to really go into detail about how the Tiger Stripes program works and what types of benefits you can receive as a student organization. Okay. And feel free, like I said, you can put things in the chat. When Abby returns, she's running a quick errand. She can also answer a lot of these questions, but I'll try to make sure there is some time to ask as we're going along. Okay, so first off, what is the Tiger Stripes program? And for us, it is our incentive-based program for student organizations. And the way it is laid out is there's essentially 4 different packages that we call them, or reward tiers, that you can receive as a student organization. So organizations get rewarded with additional benefits depending on your contributions to campus life. And there's a whole lot of different ways you can do this, whether you're putting on events, doing community service, or attending different training opportunities. Our goal is really to encourage you all as student organization leaders to develop your groups to be successful, so that your groups are, last a long time. And then we want to give those groups that are really positively contributing to campus life, they deserve a little bit of extra recognition / support for what they're giving back to the university. Our focus with this program for specifically this semester is really 3 areas. It's going to be this way for the full year: leadership development, fostering community, and wellness. And I'll show you a little bit what that means toward the end. So what are Tiger Points? So Tiger Points are the currency that we use within the Tiger Stripes program. So you're going to hear a lot of things referring to you can earn this many Tiger Points if you go to this. It is just essentially a value that you're looking to accumulate by the end of the semester. And the way it kind of works is every semester, everybody starts at 0 Tiger Points. It's the fresh reset, everybody starts at 0. You're going to earn a certain number this semester, and then by the end of the semester, the last day of classes, you will have a total. That total will then earn you whatever your final status is for the upcoming semester. And to find these opportunities, there is something called the Tiger Stripes Google Doc, and I'm actually going to show you what that is, because all of the information literally lives on this document that you need to successfully navigate the program. This presentation is more to amplify or go into detail about it. But when I show you the Google Doc, you'll notice that everything you need to know is really there. But everybody starts at 0. So right now, everybody's at 0. And then how does it work? So essentially, it's worth noting that Tiger Stripes is technically optional. So these are the benefits I'm going to talk about later. You don't have to go for them. But it is required that if you're trying to advance package numbers, then you would need to complete requirements this semester to get benefits for the upcoming semester. So to put this in perspective, right now I said everybody starts at 0, but everybody has a package number that they got, and your number is based on what your group did last spring, right? So last spring, let's say you did a certain number of points that got you to package 3. You would start this semester as package 3 and all the benefits, but then your total points goes back to 0. And then you will earn points this semester, and you may go back to package 3 for the following spring. Or maybe you choose like, hey, we don't really need any, we don't need the benefits for next spring. You don't do any Tiger points. You go back to package 1. This will make a little bit more sense when I show you the Google Doc. But currently, your group is getting your benefits based on whatever you did in spring 2024. How can I find out what is my package right now? There's 2 different ways you can do it. One is going to your individual Involved at TU page. Your package number is listed at the bottom of the About section. Abby updates that for you. Or you can go to the Tiger Stripes Google Doc and you can see every student organization kind of at a glance. And the easiest way to do this, I'm actually going to stop sharing. I mentioned the campus links thing a lot in the last session. I'm actually going to show you how to find this campus links and how to navigate the website just a little bit. So let me share, make sure I share the right tab. Here we go. Okay. So if you come to Involved at TU, you can see I'm already signed in up here. But once you sign in, if you scroll down on this main page, you will see there's a whole bunch of stuff under this campus link section here. You'll notice you can see entertainment contract, food waiver, the guide for planning events. There's a whole lot of stuff here. The purchase request form that Carolyn was talking about. But the first link here is the Tiger Stripes Google Doc. And if you click it, you will get to something that looks like this. And you can see actually at the bottom of my screen here, there's a whole bunch of tabs. It goes back very, very far. But we're currently in fall 2024. And this pink column right here has your package number listed. So package, and then you can see, you know, this organization, Actors Anonymous, they're currently package 4. This club is package 1. And it kind of goes down like that. If I go back a semester, this is what it looks like, kind of like with the chaos. But this shows like all the points that every student organization has earned. This is public. Anybody can look at this. So if you want to go on at any time and kind of see like how many points does my group have, etc., this is what you will look at. The green columns here, the attended the summit, involved at TU registration, and the advisor form, these are the mandatory requirements for all student organizations. All the columns over here to the right, the multicolored ones, these are different ways or opportunities your organization can earn points. We'll talk about what that looks like a little bit later. But the thing I want to show you about this sheet specifically is if you go to the top column and hover your mouse, it says this thing says hover over for more information. This, for example, attending the summit happens at the beginning of each semester. It gives you a whole description, and it says this semester summit is held virtually on August 20th. So it'll tell you how to do the various things. So you can see all of these point things that are coming up this semester. If I hover over, it talks about like this session's hosted by SARP on September 10th, and you must RSVP on Involved at TU with the